think it's all over. It is now. It's four.
Hello and welcome to our World Cup special of the 11 o'clock Waffle, a whole show dedicated to the 2014 Football World Cup in Brazil. I'm Mak Forsyth, and if you don't like football, then go watch Waffle Fantasy 7. Unless you don't like gaming, in which case check out A Christmas Waffle, or any of our other shows available right here on YouTube. Plug over, let's meet the guests. First up, our most experienced guest on today's show. He's the Gianluigi Buffon of the World Cup Waffle, after 4 years waffling. But will he pick up the trophy today? It's Christopher Stanley.
You'll never win anything with kids. Hello there.
Hello, welcome to the World Cup Waffle.
Hello.
Do you like our studio in Brazil that we hired?
I am fittingly sitting on a sofa, not really doing much other than talking, so I think I'm already excellently qualified to be a football pundit. I just need to cover like 100 caps for Sunderland or something like that. I've still got time.
100 caps for Sunderland?
Well, I don't know why Sunderland came to mind. It's better than, I don't know, Tranmere or Plymouth or Torquay.
That's wrong with Plymouth. And Torquay's about our level now.
Yeah, probably. Or Bristol Rovers. Oh.
Next up, the Wayne Rooney of the Waffle. Despite putting in some good performances on the show this year, he's yet to score his first ever win. Will today be the day that day changes? It's Steve Gibbard.
Morning or evening, afternoon, if you're watching this in the afternoon. How you all doing?
Good. I mean, it depends. If they're listening in Brazil, as we are in Brazil right now, obviously back in England there's a time difference.
What would it be? 1 o'clock in the morning? 2 o'clock in the morning? Something like that? Yeah. Wayne Rooney, I'm not fat. I refuse. I am a slimmer Wayne Rooney. And a better footballer.
And you have more hair.
And I have more... Actually, he's putting on some hair. A lot of hair lately.
Where is he getting it from?
Steve.
We'll see how this goes. We'll see.
Finally, the third guest on today's show. He's the rookie. He's the wild card pick. In fact, based on his personality at work, he's the potential Mario Balotelli of the show. Please welcome Richard Jones.
Hello. Pleasure to be here.
Are you super psyched for the show?
I am super psyched for the show. It's great to be here. The Graham Norton show wanted me on, but, I couldn't turn down this opportunity. I really couldn't.
Oh, we're pleased to have you on.
Thank you.
Okay, so those are our guests, and let's begin the show. Question number 1. In a week where the Qatari World Cup bid has been hit by further allegations of corruption, not that anybody suspected FIFA was corrupt to begin with, what has been the most controversial moment in World Cup history? Christopher?
I think it's kind of dispiriting that when I was researching this, there are more controversial moments in World Cup history than there are actually good moments. I'm going to go with good old Harald Schumacher, family favourite, everyone's favourite German goalkeeper. Against France in 1982, he knocked Patrick Battiston out. It wasn't an accident or anything, it was a full-on proper assault. Patrick Battiston lost 3 teeth in this assault, and the referee said it was a goal kick.
Yeah.
Really? Not even a smidgen of a foul? Could have at least given a court. No, goal kick. It's like, if that happened now...
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. I also think a close second is Frank Lampard's goal in 2010, which was spotted by Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and David Blunkett, but not any of the officials. I mean, what are we going to do?
Going back to the Schumacher thing, if Andre Mariner had been there, he'd have sent the centre-back off.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. Andre Mariner seems to have done quite well out of that. Get the wrong person, you get the FA Cup final. Sweet.
Yeah, why not? Slight racism, FA Cup final.
Yeah, absolutely.
Against a team he was racist to.
They all look the same. They're all wearing red, man.
Okay, Richard Jones, first answer on the show.
Well, I was definitely going for the goal 4 years ago against Germany. How obvious can you have a goal? The most obvious goal in history, I'd say, which wasn't a goal.
Oh, no, Pedro Mendes against Man United. I'm still bitter.
Yeah,
We're all
that is
bitter.
another candidate. Yeah, and I expect Mac is a bit about that as well, wasn't it? It was a bit controversial, just a bit. But yeah, I'd go for the Germany one, definitely, because that could have got us right back in the game. But no goal. And like you say, it was absolutely obvious to everyone except the referee. Typical for us to be about the jokes, as usual. Avoiding, obviously, in a close second, the Maradona Hand of God incident. Can't really forget. Can't really leave out.
The thing that really irritates me about the Maradona one is that he scores one of the best goals ever of any World Cup.
Yeah.
Later on in that game, it's like, if you can do that, if you can run the length of the pitch and beat 5 people, why did you have to handball it?
Yeah.
You wait till you see what Luis Suarez is going to do at this World Cup.
I dread to think.
He'll handball it, bite somebody and score a hat-trick.
In the same game.
And then punch the Prime Minister of Brazil.
Steve,
just for good luck.
Got some tough ones to beat there.
Yeah, well, other than beating compatriotism, I thought I'd go with South American teams because they seem to be hot topic. I don't know if you remember, 1978, not many of us were around. Dodgy dealings in Argentina. They required a 4-0 victory over Peru to qualify ahead of Brazil that year. And they did so by the Argentinian government, who strangely funded the tournament pretty much got them the victory by paying a hefty amount of money towards the cost of winning a football match. They won 6-0 in the end, and I think they went to win it in the end.
That doesn't sound controversial at all.
Nah, that's good. All above board.
That's perfectly legit.
South American teams are also quite indisciplined, aren't they? I mean, I think Uruguay hold the record fastest red card, 56 seconds. Someone took out Gordon Strachan, which I would not normally be, against, but it was pretty bad.
Lampard! Oh, it's not over the line.
Oh, he looked it, Clark.
He looked it. Referee looked at the assistant, and the assistant kept his flag down.
Other honourable mentions for controversial moments, I've got Renat Rivaldo when he got hit with the ball and went down clutching his face.
Tell my wife I love her.
The Battle of Nuremberg, as Chris mentioned previously, the 4 red cards and how many yellows, Chris?
16.
16.
The ref went mad. I hate all of you. He booked Sepp Blatter.
Not to mention the Diana Ross penalty at the '94 World Cup.
Wasn't even on target, was it?
No, it went nowhere near.
It went nowhere near, and then it fell apart. What?
There's also a hilarious piece of commentary. I think it's from '94. Obviously, John Aldridge got caught saying the C word.
Oh dear.
And I think it was '94. What the commentator kept pronouncing the goalkeeper Pat Bonner.
Yeah, Boner.
As Boner.
Yeah.
Boner's launched it long.
Ireland will be all right as long as they've got their boner.
Boner saved it.
Okay, question number 2 now. As the tournament is taking place in Brazil, let's have some facts about the land for our footballers, because we all know they're listening to the show as they arrive. So, Rich, facts about Brazil.
I've got a load of very small writing at the bottom of my page here that I'm going to go through. Brazil was discovered in about 1500 by Pedro Alvarez Cabral, and he was going on a voyage from Portugal to try and find India to get a trade route going, and he was following the explorer Vasco da Gama's route, and he ran into Brazil, and he put a wooden cross there and called it the land of the true cross. Continuing a football theme, he followed Vasco da Gama's route, who are a football club in Brazil, founded in 1898, and they're obviously named after him.
And he's since got a job as a Ryanair pilot.
Oh, and they gained independence from Portugal in 1822.
Sweet Steve.
Yeah.
I really struggled. I know nothing about Brazil other than there's a lot of rainforest, and one of the other things I thought was there was not actually there. So I thought I'd go with something more recent, like the current state of Brazil. Like they are considered as one of the top economies in the Americas. Obviously, the USA being one of the top ones. In South America, they have the highest economy. They outrun everything. They pretty much own the world in South America. And more football related, I believe they are a 5-time World Cup winner. but they've only hosted the tournament twice, which is quite surprising for a team that loves their football and has so many big names in their team.
Yeah, it's surprising.
Okay, and Chris.
I really struggled getting facts for this one. I mean,
You're a history student.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you. It covers 3 time zones. It shares a border with all South American countries except Chile and Ecuador. It is pretty big. It's got over 2,500 airports. I'm not quite sure why. Has a coastline of 4,655 miles in length, so water tax is probably quite high. And they like their brigadeiros, otherwise known as chocolate fudge balls, which probably gets quite a lot of people slapped. You know, would you like some chocolate fudge balls? Ow! And they like frying things, including bananas. I don't know why they fry the bananas, but yeah, apparently that's a delicacy in Brazil.
I would never think to fry a banana.
No.
I've heard of this before.
Never think, oh, a banana, I'm going to fry this.
In the saucepan.
That's what Scotland usually do.
Yeah.
No, they deep fry them.
Yeah. Not just fry, deep fry.
Okay, so moving on to question number 3 now. Listerine are one of the official sponsors of the World Cup. Given that nobody watches the football pondering about the dental hygiene of the players, except for maybe Luis Suarez, other sponsors at this year's World Cup that leave you scratching your head and wondering what exactly they have to do with football? Steve?
Yeah, I was actually discussing with you the other day. Saw an advert for Gillette shaving razors, and I was like, what? And they have Lionel Messi, who has no facial hair at all that I've ever seen in my life, do an ad for shaving his face. And I never look at football and go, well, he's not very clean shaven. Maybe I should shave my face more often. No, I'm too lazy. I'm going to not shave my face. And it doesn't matter how much Gillette gets sponsored. I'm not going to shave it for the sake of football.
No, but it's so that they can show that they've got a razor-sharp attack, Steve.
Oh, goodness. Have you seen Spain? They're not razor sharp. They're pretty slow and dim-witted about attacking.
It's true, yeah.
Surprised Spain haven't signed a sponsorship deal with Tic Tacs.
And when he shoots, he might shave the post.
Yeah, or Insomniacs Anonymous.
Okay, Chris.
McDonald's. It's so not what you eat to keep fit. It really isn't. No footballer goes, oh, you know what I need in order to win this World Cup? Some McDonald's. Oh, look, I can't move anymore.
It's just your coach suggesting that. Let's go and have a Matty D before the game.
Yeah. I tried having, sausage and chips once before a cross-country race. Let me tell you, it is not a good preparation.
Probably the worst.
Yeah. I also like, there's a telecommunications company sponsoring in Brazil called Oi, which I think is just going to be confusing. Sponsored by Oi. What? Oh, what? It's just called Oi.
Bonus point for anybody who can tell me the name of the footballer who, when he was a child, was in the McDonald's adverts.
No idea.
Gascoigne?
Scott Parker.
Oh, really?
Really?
Okay, and Rich.
Me. Well, I struggled to find much on this. I did write down McDonald's, and obviously Chris has touched on that. So I do have a sponsorship-related story here. In 2006, in Ivory Coast versus Holland in Germany, Dutch fans turned up and were told they had to remove their shorts because they had a local beer brand logo on their shorts, which was not one of the beer brands that sponsored the World Cup, and he was not FIFA endorsed. So German officials in that game made about 1,000 Dutch fans take off their shorts for the game, which I found quite intriguing.
I love that story. That happens every World Cup for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Let's go for the next one now. Question number 4. Who will be the star of this World Cup? And that will go with Rich first.
Okay. Well, Messi hasn't really shone at a World Cup yet. It should be his time to shine. Another one I've thought of as another young person coming through the ranks, Courtois of Belgium. If he gets into the first team, I think it's a big World Cup for him, and obviously that'll probably persuade whether Chelsea want to keep him or not, or whether to sell him off. So those two, Messi and Courtois.
Okay, Steve.
I really struggle. There's so many talented players. Cristiano Ronaldo, he's not really had a great World Cup. He's been more controversial than normal back in, obviously, 2006 or whatever it is. But I think he will be a big time player. And I think Romelu Lukaku, he's pretty tough. You know, it's one of those two that will shine. I think more European teams look more dominant than South America right now at this stage.
Okay, and Chris.
Darn it, I had Lukaku.
What you might?
Because I like what Mourinho did this season. He was very shrewd. He was just like, oh, okay, I could have Lukaku here, but the pressure might get to him. Or I'll send him to one of, like, a team a little bit lower than me and make sure he takes points off all my opponents, which I thought was quite sneaky.
It was a plan that worked brilliantly until Fabio Barini's penalty beat them and put them out of the title race.
Yeah, at which point Liverpool used their Lodestars quite well as well. So, yeah. Yes, now I did have Lukaku. I think Yaya Toure could have a good World Cup, but it all depends on whether or not someone shakes his hand or not. Or doesn't give him a slice of birthday cake, or doesn't let him go on the bouncy castle. I mean, really.
Yeah. You might as well just set up and leave.
How old is this guy? It was sickening, was what his agent said.
Did you see, this is a bit off topic, Sergio Aguero got a full presentation on Facebook from Man City to wish him a happy birthday. Didn't want to run any risks.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's the worst excuse in the world to, I want to leave. Could have come up with something a lot better than that.
I think also, depending on how the Netherlands do, because they do have a tendency to turn in on themselves, I think Van Persie could have a very good World Cup. But it's a bit up in the air. Because Netherlands, they always get so close. And then they throw some sort of strop, or they try and kung fu kick the other team to oblivion. Or something like that.
Here's an outside one. Nabil Bentaleb.
Ah.
He's made the Algeria squad.
Algeria, I suppose Algeria are one of the teams that have won a World Cup match before.
Algeria, they offer brilliant, entertaining football. That's why a bird nested on the roof of the England goal.
Yeah.
For a full 45 minutes. It didn't move.
I have to give that to that.
Yeah, but doesn't that the Algerian goal the bird was on?
Yeah. It was still a boring game. Algeria didn't do much to try and...
Could have loved it from the halfway line just to get the bird to move.
Yeah. Hit the bird on the goal. We give up the original game.
As long as we have a better World Cup in terms of games than last time, we'll be all right.
Yeah.
That won't be too difficult.
No.
We don't have Italian managing us for a start.
We had to get Brian Blessed to give a speech to get us past Slovenia, for crying out loud.
On for Fabio! England and St. George!
Question 5. What has been the best goal in World Cup history? And we'll start with Chris.
This is a really tricky one. I think 2006 was a really good year for goals, so I kind of got a sort of joint one. The first one is Torsten Frings in the first match against Costa Rica. There had already been a pretty impressive goal by Philipp Lahm earlier in the game, where he sort of knocked it. It was only about 5 minutes in, and he was like, yes, this is going to be a good World Cup. But then, I think it was like the last minute or so, Germany had been teetering a bit. They were only leading 3-2. And Torsten Frings just hit it from about 30 yards. And the bend he put on the ball was ridiculous. Sort of started from like sort of the left-hand side of the goal and sort of bent as much as it could without going wide and into the back of the net. Also allowed Gerard Lineker to make the awful pun saying that Frings turned out all right in the end. I know, but I think the one that possibly pips it in terms of a taking the mickey goal is Cambiasso against Serbia and Montenegro, where Argentina passed it like over 2,000, I think it's 26 times, before eventually putting Serbia out of their misery and putting the ball in the net. And this goal was so good that it shamed Serbia and Montenegro into never appearing at another World Cup, because they split up since over the sheer embarrassment over losing 6-0 to Argentina. You know, they're like, no, we could never show our face at a World Cup. We must part ways.
No, that was it. That was the political moment. When
yes.
They had relationship problems after that. They had to break up.
It was just cruel, though. They were just like a dog with a bone.
Just mocking them.
Okay, on to Steve next.
I was going to have a go eventually, I hope. I'm going to go with a bit of a controversial one. Diego Maradona in 1986. I think a lot of people remember that year where he did the hand of God and kind of really ruined England. But I don't think many people remember the goal afterwards. He took the ball from past the halfway line. He completely made a fool of 2 England players, ran ragged on the right wing, went past 5 players, completely destroyed the goalkeeper, and then poked it into the back of the net. It was the most amazing individual goal. I didn't realise Diego Maradona was known for so much pace. And it was the year that he pretty much won the World Cup that year. And I think it was worth a mention because he is an outstanding player despite the hand of God.
I think in a later game, Belgium tried the interesting tactic of putting 6 men marking Maradona. Like, he can't get past 6 of us, guys.
He probably did too as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about the rest of the team, just mark him.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, best goal in World Cup history.
Well, I came up with 2.
Ooh.
One of them was Ken Biasso's goal,
Yeah.
and one of them was Maradona's goal. So I have fallen foul to the fact that I was the last one to be asked this question.
It's fine. Most shows Chris is on, he normally gives about 6 answers and wipes out the entire panel in one go.
Yeah. So those are the 2 I came up with. Maradona's second goal, because obviously the first one was a tiny bit controversial, so I've heard. But the second one, he just blitzed the team. I watched it several times today, and it is, sad to say, absolutely brilliant.
Okay, nobody going with Jeff Hurst?
Which one?
Some people on the pitch.
Yeah.
Do you mean the last goal, or do you mean the one that probably wasn't a goal, but whatever?
We're hoping it.
It looks over the line. I don't think the linesman could even speak English. It was a bit of a problem.
There's a statue of him somewhere.
Yes.
There's a statue, isn't there, somewhere in the world?
Well, the referee.
No, the linesman.
Oh, right.
Yeah, the linesman. I think is it Austria? Something like that.
I think
somewhere
it's
random.
like the East Balkan, like the Balkan states.
Oh, okay. It's so random.
That's brilliant. Don't build a statue of the players, but build one of the linesmen that gave the goal. Brilliant.
It's the half-time now, and time for the scores. On 17, it's Steve.
Yeah.
On 19 points, it's Richard.
Yeah.
And on 20 points after a storming start, it's Chris.
Hooray!
Time now for question number 6. We're going to ask our panellists to give us a stat or fact related to this year's tournament. So, Richard, you can go first.
A stat or fact? Well, basically, I've looked into this one, and I found a lot about the way that all the teams always go to the World Cup, and they all expect to be treated like rock stars and sort of top lifestyle. And I've had a look at some of the bizarre demands that teams have been making to hotels. I found that Ecuador want local bananas flown in every morning. Uruguay wants silent air conditioning.
Silent?
What?
Yeah, silent air conditioning.
What?
And the best one, you'll love this, France have requested 2 different types of soap for the players. as apparently the players aren't used to having hard soaps, hard blocks.
Oh.
So I want to know how they researched this and why they've made this one. Either they've asked the players, what type of soap would you like? Or they followed the players round all season and monitored their soap habits.
Can you imagine a survey? Can you please explain to me your height, your weight, and which type of soap you like?
Yeah, but that's brilliant. I love that one when I saw it earlier.
I cannot get on with this hard stuff.
Gasol, where's the herbal essences are requested?
Can I have the list? It's too hard.
I
We
like
laugh,
it with
but
the
if they have
squidgy
hard
top.
soap, they have hard soap, they'll be like, we are not playing in the World Cup. Let's call this.
Is that what 2010 was all about?
Hard soaps. That's what
Hard
it was.
soap.
Does this mean in order to beat Uruguay, we just need to put on air conditioning? And they'll
Yeah.
lose.
Every corner you stand there going,
Just get one player, go to each of one of to their markers' room and hum all night.
Completely put them off. Just put on their air conditioning on full blast at night. Put them off the whole day. Back asleep.
Can't be freezing cold.
Yeah.
Steve, fact or fact?
There is a lot of interesting facts. I touched on the fact that Brazil, this is the second time that they've ever held the World Cup. And more importantly, that this is the first World Cup ever to have goal line technology, which I think a lot of people are very happy about, especially England and Germany. And, it's probably the one tournament where it actually might be used due to the unique way that people shoot. So I think that's quite important, and especially with the controversy. But then again, I suppose that means we just have nothing to talk about after the World Cup.
It'll be typical. We won't need goal line technology in this World Cup. Now that we've got it, we won't need it.
That would go against England.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The ball will actually land on the line this time.
It'll land right just over the line, and they'll give it against England.
Done.
Okay, Chris.
Interestingly, with Spain and Netherlands in the same group, this is the first World Cup where the finalists from the last World Cup are in the same group, which has never happened before. Like Steve mentioned, first one with goal line technology, I'm also pretty sure this is the first World Cup where the mascot is an armadillo.
It probably is, yeah.
You know, famed for their love of football. It's called Fleco. So, yes. And it does look quite cute, and it rolls into a football. So, yeah. Although I wouldn't kick an armadillo. I imagine that would break your foot.
Yeah, let's just put that out there. Armadillos are not substitute footballs.
No. An armadillo is for life, not just for football.
Question 7 now, and in honour of David Beckham, England's former number 7, who has the most memorable haircut in World Cup history? Steve?
The one and only Ronaldo, the legend that he is, with his curtain fringe. The rest of his head bald.
Yes.
He has this weird curved triangle on the front of his face. And it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. It looks horrible. I don't know why it was fashioned, especially with his teeth.
They called it the power cut, I think, because apparently there was a power cut when they were doing his hair, and therefore didn't finish it.
Oh, very funny. Very good. It was him, or Gibbard Richard, who's like renowned for really bizarre haircuts. Not very good football, but he had like a blonde strip, not in the middle of his head, just slightly to the right, which made no sense. I thought that was quite interesting.
Okay.
Nothing Gibbard Richard does make sense. I remember watching him grab someone by the throat and then being slightly surprised when he got a red card. It's like, yeah, you can't do that, Gibbard.
Wasn't that when he was at QPR?
Yeah, it was QPR, yeah.
I remember watching that game. It was like, what are you doing? Break your leg.
Yeah, to be fair, the other guy had almost broken his leg, and I think he's had his leg broken twice before.
Yeah.
So
It's amazing he's still going as a footballer.
Yeah, no, it's true, to be fair.
Especially that first one, because that was horrific.
Ooh,
yeah,
no,
it was.
Yeah.
To be fair, he's not really doing much in football. He sort of turns up to a game and sits on the bench for a while.
Yeah, he just moves between clubs and just, plays a couple of games, moves on. You just hear him every now and then. You're like, okay, well, you're still around, are you?
Did he spend most of his time at QPR being sent off anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the game he came back, he got sent off.
Yeah.
Or I think, wasn't he injured and then he got sent off in the first game, but I can't remember now. Anyway,
Yes.
Chris, memorable haircuts.
I'm going to go, interesting one, with the entire Romanian team of 1998. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, good, you've
Brilliant.
seen the story. Yes. They dyed their hair blonde after getting through the group stage, obviously, because, that's what you do when you sort of succeed at something. I've got a promotion. Let's get out the hairspray. However, it didn't really work because they then lost 1-0 to Croatia. So, yeah.
I have to say, if I was the opposition, that would put me off. I'd just be like, why the hell have they done that?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if Croatia, you guys are all blonde. Yeah, well, your kit looks like a chess set.
It's better than Rooney's Barnes at the European Championships. I've spent a fortune growing my hair back. I'm going to shave it off.
Also, honourable mention, Carlos Valderrama. Awesome hair. Marouane Fellaini, eat your heart out.
Definitely. Okay, Rich, 2 strong ones to go up against.
Yeah, well, I've got both those written down again.
Oh, no.
There must have been a member of that sort of Romania team that just didn't want to do it and be like, seriously, do we have to do this?
Actually, I think the goalkeeper was bald, So
Really?
I'm pretty sure
Everybody get away with it. Shave yourself bald, and we'll let you off.
Yeah.
What does it get dropped? You're dropped, you have no hair, you're not blonde. Get off.
I do have one other though, Gervinho. You have to go for with the most receding hairline in history for Ivory Coast. Who's,
yes.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it was Ivory Coast.
Yeah, he's got he's got biggest, shiniest forehead you can ever imagine.
Never
He's still got a full head of hair. That's what's bizarre about it. You go, about halfway up in his head, he's got loads of hair, but no hair at the front.
How did nobody go Bobby Charlton? 3 strands of hair combed over.
Oh, yeah. The Bobby Charlton comb over.
Okay, question number 8 now. What has been the single greatest moment of any World Cups? This isn't goal or game or sentinel. This is the greatest moment of any World Cup. Chris?
If it's going to be just one moment, I think it probably needs to be Gordon Banks' save against Pele in the 1970 World Cup. Because having seen the video, Gordon Banks had no right to save that header at all. Yeah, and it led to them swapping shirts at the end, which I thought was quite a nice touch. I did also kind of have, France, going to the 2002 World Cup and being like, oh, we're the world champions, we're the European champions, come and have a go. And Senegal beat them. And France were just awful after that. They didn't score a goal. And it's one of the worst defences of the World Cup ever.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you know what that means, though, in terms of World Cup? Because obviously back then they changed the rules after that. 'Cause you didn't have to qualify if you won it. That means their World Cup record in 4 games was beat Brazil 3-0, lost to Senegal 1-0,
Yep.
lost to Uruguay. Did they lose
No,
to Uruguay?
They drew with Uruguay, but someone got sent off.
That was it,
I think
0-0.
Henri got sent off.
Yeah.
And lost to Denmark. Brilliant. That was a pretty easy group as well. And they completely mugged it off.
Not great. And Senegal had a good World Cup as well, so yeah.
Okay, Rich.
Well, unfortunately, I've gone for sort of a bad sort of side one. In the 2006 World Cup final, Italy versus France. Zidane's last ever game in history. He's going to, we're all thinking he's going to sign off, he's going to score a goal or something. Several millions of people's jaws dropped when he headbutted Materazzi.
It's Rick, it's Zidane.
And it was absolutely an unbelievable moment because you thought you were seeing things at first and you're like, did he really just do that? Did you really just do that? So that is the most amazing moment I've probably seen in a World Cup.
I like how the French public, they weren't on his back about that at all. Because, when Beckham got sent off in '98, he got practically villainized. But with Zidane, they were just like, no, he said stuff about his mother, you shouldn't do that. And, we probably would have lost anyway. It's fine. We got to the final, we're happy.
He got, player of the tournament as well, still. He still got player of the tournament. I was like, what the... How can only Zinedine Zidane can headbutt an Italian and still be player of the tournament?
Materazzi was a bit of a pig, though. I mean, he denied that he'd said anything. He was like, I didn't say anything. Like, yeah, you did.
Completely unprovoked, just headbutt someone.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. He must have said something. Come on. He's managed to go to the rest of his career without doing it. In his last game. I love the way, also, because it was his last game, they couldn't ban him or anything. He had to do community service or something like that.
It's quite a good way to retire, isn't it? Here goes nothing.
I love that. I bet he thought that as he was going in. Here goes nothing. Bang.
Off.
Isn't there that image of him just walking down past the trophy as he goes to the dugout?
Yeah.
I was actually in Germany when I saw that, so yeah. The German commentary was quite amusing. It's like, was ist
das?
Yeah.
That is out. Okay, Steve, single greatest moment.
Yeah, no, I'm running out of ideas. I could go for the typical England winning a World Cup, but I think Emil Heskey with that phenomenal pass to Steven Gerrard against the USA in the last World Cup. Because the amount of stick that Emil Heskey ever gets throughout the whole of his career, never scores a goal for him, whatever, and he goes and pulls that off, and it's possibly the biggest, wow, Emil Heskey just passed the ball to Steven Gerrard. Phenomenal. Yet, even though he should be in the position where Steven Gerrard is actually at. I think for a player that literally got so much stick and everyone said he shouldn't have been there, the only player to actually do something for England was Emil Heskey last season.
Yeah, best thing he's ever done for England, probably.
Apart from retire.
He did score quite a good goal against Denmark in 2002.
Oh yeah, that's quite a good one. But I just remember the tackle in the Euros against France. Tackled off the edge of the box, and it's like, why on earth would you do that? Zidane,
no.
And it was Heskey's fault we lost that. He started
it. He did.
Okay, so the penultimate question of our questions anyway, it's the time for the World Cup predictions. So our three panellists are now going to tell you in quite possibly inaccurate detail of how the next couple of weeks with the World Cup will turn out. So, Steve, you can start us off here. What are your predictions for this World Cup?
Oh, well, England will get through the group stages. As surprising as it sounds, I think we got the edge on Italy and Costa Rica to get through. Maybe not Uruguay. I think Holland and who's in the same group as Holland?
Chile, Spain. Australia and Spain.
Spain, that's it. Holland and Spain will have all-out war. Two players will be sent off in that game. Van Persie will score a remarkable left-foot volley somewhere down the line. And Cristiano Ronaldo will dive in the box and give a penalty to Portugal. Mario Balotelli will inevitably do something ridiculous and get sent off, as Mario Balotelli does. And probably against England, he'll probably drop-kick Steven Gerrard or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And overall, the winner for me, Brazil or Germany. I think Germany, because they are like the machine of football. They're so well built. It's unbelievable. So that's my sort of prediction. But I fancy Wayne Rooney to score from the halfway line as an ultimate shock, just to shut everyone up.
Nice.
That would work.
Okay, Rich next.
Well, my main prediction, I think it's Brazil's time to win it. I think they'll be very confident going into it, home tournament and all that. I think it's their chance to win it again. I can just see Luis Suarez doing something against England that is going to make the whole of England hate him. For one reason or another, he's going to get someone sent off. He's going to do a hand of God sort of thing.
Mm.
But I can just see him doing something like Cristiano Ronaldo did a few years ago. Just do something that's going to make the whole country hate him for one reason or another. Because he's had such a good season, he has to ruin it somehow, you know.
Yeah,
he has to think of something.
Okay, and Chris.
I'm also going to go with the South American team to win the World Cup. I'm going to have the Ronaldo is going to cry when Portugal inevitably lose. I'm going to have England smuggling Gareth Bale into their side and hoping no one notices that they've done that. And I'm going to have it that England gets the World Cup final against Brazil, absolutely hammering them, and then Steven Gerrard to slip on the halfway line.
Yeah.
And Brazil to sort of canter up the other end of the pitch and score. And I think all the pundits are just about going to be able to get through the whole tournament without mentioning Pelé once. I wonder how long it's going to be before someone mentions Pelé.
It'll be immediately. It'll be the first thing that they say. Pelé is here in the team. Have you heard they've got a paraplegic taking the first kick of the World Cup?
Really?
Yeah, a paraplegic player, a teenager, is going to take the first 2014 Cup kick. I don't know how he's going to run off the pitch. Cause,
I was going to say.
His Croat is just going to
stand around for a bit.
Get the boys! Get the...
Just stands there for the whole game.
Question number 10 now, and possibly one of the toughest questions of the show's history. Pick a five-a-side team comprising of 4 players who have played at the World Cup and 1 player who never actually did play at the World Cup. So, Rich, what is your five-a-side team?
Well, I'd have to go with Buffon in goal. I think he has tons of World Cup experience, and he's always been pretty good. One of the best keepers in the world, so I have to go with Buffon in goal. Roberto Carlos, I'd say you can rely on him to put in a free kick that's going to go completely in a different direction that he's kicked it in. That's 2. Well, I'd probably say Iniesta, because you need a midfielder. You need a central midfielder there to, be able to sort things out in the middle, be be able to go a bit defensive when he needs and attack when he needs. Then I'd go with probably Zidane, even though what he's done in his final game and that. He's still a top player, and you can rely on him to deliver a brilliant free kick and deliver the goods. And going up front, I'd probably say Pelé. There we said just then about Pelé. Perfect. Mentioned him.
Football never played in a World Cup.
What?
Yeah, well, you got to have one which didn't play at the World Cup, Rich.
Oh, so one of the 5 has to be someone that hasn't played at the World Cup.
Yeah.
See, I didn't get that. Never playing at the World Cup. Probably I'd say Cantona. Because, yeah, that's an intriguing one. I was actually intrigued. I only found this out today that he never played at a World Cup. And he never did. And it's quite amazing, really, because after, obviously, he was gone by the time 1998 came round. So, yeah, put him instead of Pelé. He'd be the one who's never played, unjustifiably. And going for a future one, is probably going to have to be Gareth Bale. I have to put him in because, let's be honest, he's never going to play in the World Cup. He's already surrendered that, so that's a future one to put a twist on that question there. Okay, Chris.
I've also gone with Buffon, not because he's a good keeper, just because of the name, Buffon. Philip, my defender, he's been around for ages. He's got a pretty mean shot on him, who will never play at the World Cup. Unsurprisingly, he's Welsh. It's Ryan Giggs. You know, the amount of experience he's got. And I think actually Giggs could have played for England. I think there was a point where he was playing for the England under-18s or something, and he could have registered for England. And no, he went for Wales. Look at what you could have won, Ryan. Other midfielder is Bobby Moore. How he didn't get a knighthood, I'm not sure. Controversially, I've gone with a German. I've gone with Gerd Müller up front, known as Der Bomber. He scored 13 goals. And that was when the football was made out of a mixture of lead and concrete. So goodness knows how many he'd bang in these days.
Okay, that's a pretty strong team. And Steve last.
Oh, most of my players have been rinsed. But I do have a few surprises. I was going to go for Buffon, but then I then changed my mind to Oliver Kahn for Germany. I always thought he was amazing. You just sort of like it was him or Peter Schmeichel, that sort of generation. So Oliver Kahn, and then defender Cafu. I thought he'd be a great five-a-side player. He probably still would play, actually, given the opportunity. He just refused to retire. Zidane as my midfielder, just unbelievable talent, and Ronaldo as my striker. Obviously, the Brazilian Ronaldo, 15 goals in the World Cup is an unbelievable record. I was going to go for Giggs, but I've changed my mind and now gone for George Best, because he's Irish, and obviously Ireland never made it to the World Cup.
It's true. You sure you're not going to go with Amir Khan? I think he could be quite a good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think he'd be quite good.
Yeah, you can do that Schumacher knockout punch.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't know why I've actually written down Amir Khan because I was thinking about him earlier today. But no, I meant Oliver.
Okay, Oliver. Not Khan from Star Trek 2 either.
No,
he'd be good.
He'd be good to have in your team, though. You can crush people's skulls.
A team full of Khans.
It's full time now, but we have injury time to play due to the scores being as they are: 36 to Rich and Steve, narrowly ahead Chris on 38.
Ooh.
So our final round on this edition of the Waffle will be true or false stories from the World Cup. Chris, as you're currently ahead, you get to decide which end goes first.
I will go first, then Rich, and then Steve.
Thank God. Thank you.
Yeah, that gives me time to think of one.
Yeah, I'm going to say both of those are false.
Okay, so Chris, what is your story from the World Cup history?
For God's sake. This is a lot of footballers are sort of, running the risk of boredom. They're in Brazil for a long time. They're away from the wives and girlfriends. So the Belgian coach has decided that the only solution to this boredom is to order 2 lorry loads of trout to be dumped in a lake for them to go fishing. And that will hopefully mean they don't get bored. That's my story.
Okay, Rich, what is your story?
The Chile team were banned in the year 1990 because in qualifying their goalkeeper faked being hit by a flare in their game by Brazil. Replays afterwards showed that he wasn't hit by the flare at all, and as a punishment, Chile were banned from the 1990 World Cup.
Gosh.
Righty-ho. And Steve.
Right, car insurance companies seem to make more money due to World Cups. More people crash their cars when England lose a football game. Apparently, especially during Portugal or something like that. It's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so we've got Chris's tale of COD, the ban despite the goalkeeper being the man cheating, and the car crash rate being up when England play. Rich, do you think that Chris's is a true story or a false story?
Sounds a bit too far-fetched. Well, it's very far-fetched, but is it too far-fetched to be real? I go for false.
False. Okay, and Steve?
Anything can happen in the World Cup. I'm going with true.
The goalkeeper hit by flare. Do you think that one's true or false, Steve?
False.
Chris?
I'm going to say true. I could see something like that happening in South American qualifying. Usually gets quite feisty.
And the car crashes. What do you think to that one, Chris?
I'm going to say false. Bit of a gamble. Going to say false.
And Rich?
I'm going to say true on that one. I think I've heard something about that because they've been warning drivers this year after England games. So I'd go with true on that one.
So, Chris, for God's sake, is that true or false?
It is 100% true.
Yes.
Yep, he has actually ordered 2 lorry loads worth of trout. But
I'm not surprised.
yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, what was he going to do once they've caught all the trout?
Right. Brilliant.
Haddock next. Belgium team to appear on MasterChef.
Brazil.
Brazilian MasterChef.
Brazilian MasterChef.
Trout. What are you going to do tomorrow?
Dubstep fish. Dubstep fish. Drop the bass.
Okay. The goalkeeper hit by flare, is that true or false, Richard?
It is true. It's one
Yeah.
of my views. It is true.
What a stupid thing to do.
Yeah. It was brilliant. I can just imagine being that keeper. I was like, you got us banned, you ass. I bet he didn't play again. I haven't looked that up. I bet he didn't play for them again though.
That sounds like the Harlequins thing in the rugby, where the guy hid a blood capsule in his leg and then deliberately burst it all over his face, despite the fact that there were video cameras filming the whole thing, so that he could be substituted so that someone else could come on, like their top kicker, so they could win. And then the guy missed the kick, so it didn't work. And then they got found out and they got banned.
That is brilliant.
I do remember that. That's hilarious.
Oh dear.
Okay, and the car crashes, is that true or false?
It is true.
Yeah.
It is. Actually, the worst it ever got. It happens more in England, if I'm honest. We seem to become quite suicidal when England lose. When we played Portugal and all that controversy, apparently car insurance call rates increased by 40%.
Wow.
I was like, what the? But no, it's unbelievable. I couldn't believe a statistic like that. I was like, so what do people do? Do they listen to it on the radio and go, God damn, Ronaldo?
Right, that's it. I'm leaving the reservation.
Okay, so
I'm turning this car around.
Cursing drivers going through red traffic lights. Stop this traffic light. Taking out their frustration on the road.
I drove down from Cornwall during the first half of England versus Italy 2 years ago at the Euros, and the roads were dead. I was like the only car on the road.
It's a good time to drive then.
Second, the penalty started though. Gridlock.
Oh yeah.
Just
Where'd you all come from?
everywhere.
Anyway, it's time for the scores. In third place, it's Richard on 40.
Oh.
Narrowly ahead on 41. And our runner-up, it's Steve. Just clinging on to the lead on 42 points. Chris is this year's World Cup Waffle winner.
Yay! Thank you, Chilean goalkeeper. You idiot. What's his name? I need to write him a thank you card.
It's Roberto Rojas.
Wow, he even has ass in his name.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
That's it for our World Cup special. I hope you've enjoyed listening it, and we may do another one in 4 years' time. Who knows?
With penalties.
Penalties, yes. We'll book a stadium out and do it live in a stadium.
Awesome.
We will, just like we have on this occasion.
Yeah.
So what, Exeter City football ground, yeah?
Let's use the Qatar ones. They won't be needed.
Maybe they'll have to finish the scaffolding on this one, though.
All
Hopefully
the
they'll have done by next week.
900 people have died so far building the city that's being required for the World Cup. Now it's not going to be needed anymore. They're going to build a whole city for the World Cup and then they're going to need it.
Yeah, my faith in the Brazil construction companies is not exactly high.
No.
Just like, oh look, another crane's fallen through.
Yeah.
Like, guys, this is kind of important. We don't want cranes falling on tens of thousands of pounds.
They've been testing them, haven't they? They've been getting people to go into stadiums and test them to make sure they don't collapse.
What, stand underneath them? Or stand
Well,
on?
they just go, everyone go in the stands. They just send loads of people in the stands and, jump around and celebrate and stuff.
Wow.
Put on House of Pains, jump around, see what happens.
Thank you to my guests, Richard Jones, Steve Gibbard and Chris Stanley. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll be back after summer, or maybe in summer. Who knows?
They think it's all over.
Bye.
Bye.
It is now.